Hey guys, Tisha here, and I'm back for a review that I already recorded, or I thought I recorded, but it didn't save. So I'm gonna try and give you what I gave in the last one. But you guys, I don't know. We start off this episode with seeing all the ladies getting ready for Thanksgiving and their trip to Portugal. We see Brooklyn meeting her grandfather, Kenya's dad, for the first time, and she's all smiles, and I never realized how much she looks like him. We then see Drew and Ralph, and they do a very performative thing where Drew comes down the stairs, and she's so surprised and so thankful for what her husband has done, because he's arranged for them to not only have brunch, but for the fellas to come as well, and they're going to be serving the ladies. And I just feel like it's a bit much as far as the whole synopsis of what, he would like to see. But okay, Ralph, do what you do. Everyone arrives with their mates, even Courtney and her child's father, with the exception of Martell and Roy. And Sheree mentions that she really wanted to meet Roy, and in her confessional, she then says that no one's seen him. So is anybody gonna meet him? But I just feel like no matter what Kenya did, whether she brought him or not, it was gonna be a thing. It's so funny to me how you have something to say about Roy. It's like they're gunning for Kenya. That's all I'm gonna say about that matter. I said more in the previous video, but Sheree just gets on my nerves at this point. You talking about a man who actually has a business versus a man that's only job at this point is being one of the cast of another reality show. And he brings nothing else to the table. As they're sitting at the table, the movies come up. Candy mentions the fact that they have begun the casting process for their movie. And Kenya says she doesn't understand why she didn't get offered to be in the movie, that she shouldn't even have to audition, that her people should have been calling Kenya's people because she's a good actress. And Kenya, nobody remembers you like that. You've been in, Twice and Deliverance from Eva and Waiting to Exhale, but you never were like a main cast member, to my knowledge. Well, maybe in Twice you were, but your role was, I don't know. I just don't feel like you're that great of an actress, and you're no Jamie Lee or Viola Davis or Angela Bassett or any of these other people who have worked hard, Halle Berry, to get where they're at. So the fact that you thought you weren't supposed to audition and you should have just been casted is interesting to me. Candy announces that they casted Drew as the main person, and they act as if they're excited for Drew. Drew, in her confessional, shades Kenya and says that the Twas came out 20 years ago, and she doesn't understand, what kind of current acting experience Kenya has. I get it. It's a funny read, but at the same point, like, Drew, you've been in some things, but I don't know. To me, if we're friends, the way that I'm going to throw shade at you would not be in the confessional. If I throw shade to you, it's going to be in your face. That's what my friends and I do. Like, we'll joke to each other's faces. While they're sitting at the table, Roy calls on FaceTime, probably trying to be there for Kenya since he couldn't actually come to the event. And as Kenya's on the phone, she's like, yeah, we're at brunch. And she's showing the ladies him on the phone. As soon as the phone hit Marlo makes it known, oh, I know this guy. I know that guy. I know him. I went on a date with him before. And Kenya walks off because she can't hear Roy on the phone, and they're talking in the other room. So as Kenya steps away for her call, Marla proceeds to tell them a whole story about how she knows Roy and how what initially started as DMs because she was talking about what to wear, and he DM'd her and told her to go with this, then turned to him wanting to take her out on a date. We see the receipt because, you know, Bravo is going to show Marlo's receipts, and we see it's from 2018. You went on one date with this man from 2018, but you want to talk about it in full context because it allows you to be able to say that you dated someone before Kenya, and Kenya is getting your sloppy seconds, whatever that means. When Kenya returns to the table, the ladies bring up the fact that Marlo said that she dated Roy. She knows Roy, she dated him. And Kenya doesn't give it a lot of energy. We see Sheree in her confessional say that it's interesting that she has so much to say about Martell, but she doesn't have a lot to say about Roy when he did the same exact thing that Martell did because he got in the DM of Marlo. And it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing because Martell sought you out based on the show that you were on. It wasn't, and it was within the same time span. Because Kenya said it was like he did it initially at one time and then he did it again maybe 6 months prior, which fell into the time span that you supposedly were getting to know this guy. So stop trying to act like it's the same thing. And Martell tried to hide it. Martell deleted it. It doesn't seem as if Roy has. So it's not the same thing. Then Sheree shades Drew and asked Drew if she paid, said the food was good and asked if she paid this chef, because she saw on the internet that Drew's having some legal issues in regards to another chef and that she owes the chef. I find it so interesting that Sheree has so much to say about seeing stuff on the internet. Sheree, aren't you the same person who sat down a couple episodes ago with Candy saying that Candy, instead of retweeting and saying that the site is down and all those other things, and that she didn't get products from you, or the products that you gave were taken back and all those other things? Didn't you say to her, you should have addressed that with me, you shouldn't have posted that, you should have called me, all these other things, and Candy apologized to you and all this stuff for it? But yet you're doing the same thing to Drew, and you're doing it in her home. You're disrespecting her in her home. When we know that we've seen on the internet that you owe quite a few people, we've seen on television that you didn't want to pay Phaedra because you didn't win the case. But you didn't win the case for child support because you were supposed to sell your home, get out of the home and sell it, and those proceeds were supposed to be split evenly amongst you and your ex. And as a result, he didn't have to pay you back child support because you didn't give him the money that he should have gotten from that home. You don't have the designs that we saw come across the runway at that fashion show that took, I don't know how many years, the whole time you've been on the show, for you to create this fashion line. And then we don't get what we saw because the young man came out and said that he's not releasing the designs because you didn't pay him. We've seen you take forever to build your house because it has not or was not paid. We saw you have issues with contractors. We saw you had issues with other people for various things, events that you've thrown that you didn't want to pay. Like, there's been so many instances where money was an issue for you. So the fact that you're sitting here trying to bring up this impending lawsuit is crazy to me. So Drew says, yes, there is. It's a legal situation. The girl is not a chef. She's a cook. She's saying that I owe her money and we don't. They asked how much. She said it's $1,000. I watched a little bit of Candy speak on it, and we found out that the case has been dismissed and Drew has won. So Drew didn't even have to pay this lady. So the fact that you even bring this up and we know now that it's not even a thing is crazy to me. Sheree brings up how this is the time for everything to be put out on the table, anybody to open about whatever issues they have, because this trip is about healing and letting things go. And the instigator, Sanya, whatever her name is, asks if everybody's going to be open to that. Courtney begins making comments and laughing and touching Kenya on her shoulder. And she touches her a few times, and Kenya asks her to please stop touching her. And she has every right to say that. Everybody's not comfortable with you touching them. The guys are outside talking. Candy is over the whole situation and she's ready to go. So she mouths to Ty like, I'm ready to go. We see the ladies arrive in Portugal. We found out that Candy did not have a good plane ride, that she spent a majority of the plane ride in the bathroom sick. Something didn't agree with her stomach and things were coming out of both ends as she described. Sheree says that she wants positive energy and good vibes as they're traveling to their location. And it's interesting that she wants good vibes when later on to me, Sheree brings negative vibes. Sheree in this confessional phase is so awful. I don't understand why she would do that to herself. It looks bad. And I guess hopefully maybe once the fillers settle or whatever she did settles, it won't look so bad. But her face to me looks like it hurts. We see Marlo saying that Sheree did such a good job booking this thing, that what they're at, the hotel that they're staying at looks like a palace compared to Kenya's Motel 6. And they flash back to where Kenya had them staying. And all I'm saying is we're not going to act like this isn't being paid for by Bravo. Every season y'all go on a cash trip. Bravo is shelling out some money for this. We're not going, come on now. Really, Sheree paid for this? Sheree's the reason why y'all have this. I don't understand why Bravo's acting like she's supposed to be the one that brings everybody together, but we're just going to go with it. We see all the ladies calling their nannies and their men and all these other things, and we find out that Ralph is in Vegas auditioning for the Chocolate City. The ladies make fun of it because nobody wants to see Ralph stripping. Girl, there are people who want to see Ralph stripping. I'm not one of them. I'm not knocking him. I think he is a somewhat attractive guy, but the way that I see him interact with his wife is very unattractive to me. So I have no desire to see him take off his clothes. The ladies leave from where they're sitting. They go to their different spaces in their rooms. Sonia makes a comment that as they're leaving, that let's see who is the first to be recognized on these streets, and let's see who's really worldwide. That's obviously a dig at Candy. As we see the ladies in the room, Drew is talking to Moneta, and they're saying like Africa is very close to where they're at, and Drew said that she's never been to Africa, but she's been to South Africa. We know that that's Africa. True. That elevator don't go all the way to the top, boo-boo. We find out that Moneta has an orphanage in a village in Africa. She said the name, but I didn't want to keep replaying it to get it. And Drew talks about how she would love to be able to see it. This is what bothers me about the producers of this show. These women have so many other things going on in their lives that are dope things, that are things that would make for really, really great TV. And rather than showing us we're getting this manufactured stuff where we're having the same conversations in different environments over and over and over again. And it's insane to me. You have Candy, who is on tour, who at one point was on Broadway, who went to the Tonys, who like all these different things have happened and we didn't see it. We have Moneta, who even though she's a friend to the show, she obviously has a lot of stuff going on. Why are we not getting these things? Why are we getting this foolishness? I don't know. I got really excited thinking that this episode was going to be a lot better than it was, and it frustrates me. The ladies are talking in their various rooms about how so far the energy is good, and we all know it's not gonna last. Drew is talking to Moneta, and she talks about how she didn't like what Sheree did. She felt like she was being a little shady towards her when she made that comment about the chef being paid, and that she thought that they were in an okay space, but the fact that she did that was kind of weird to me. Kenya is talking to Candy about how she has a date coming up for her divorce case. And Candy tells her that she's so tired of this 3-year divorce, and we all are. And at this point, Kenya's been going through a divorce for a longer amount of time than she lived a happy marriage. That's insane to me. Candy asks Kenya if she was weirded out when Marlo said that she dated Roy. And Kenya said that she wasn't bothered by it, that they went out, it didn't work, it was, a one-time thing, and he already let her know. And I appreciated the fact that she made it clear, like, I knew, I was aware, it doesn't bother me. We see Sonia and Marlo talking, and Sonia asks, what's the difference between Martell being in her DMs and Roy being in her DMs? And this is why I don't like Sonya. This girl just made a whole lot of money for you at your auction, at your charity thing, and did all of that and didn't charge you for what she did for her services. And you gonna sit here and talk about her? Marlo says that she can't help the fact that Kenya is uncomfortable with talking about it. And that she doesn't want to deal with it. It's not that she's uncomfortable with talking about it. It's that she's not bothered by it. You want her to be bothered by it, but she's not. Kenya's not paying it dust. Kenya said at the table when you brought it up that he went out on a date with her, it didn't work out, and now he came to where he's supposed to be, which is me. Kenya is very excited about this guy, but she even says to Candy that she's excited, but she's kind of like, keep it calm and stuff. And I get it. I hope it works out for Kenya, because if not, there's just more stuff for them to throw in her face. Marlo in confessional brings up all the different men that Kenya's had around, and how you talking about, you try to make a rude comment about me, but you can't even keep a man. And Marlo, the only reason why we don't see your men is because at one point you were admittedly dating married men, and you also date men for money. So, and you weren't a main character on the show. You've been a friend to the show for years. So we didn't really care about who you were dating. We've seen some guys from you too. So let's not sit here and slut shame people. I feel like some of that commentary isn't just trying to say that she can't keep a man. It's other things to it, because it's the same thing that they did to Candy in the past. The only difference is Candy is married, happily married. We then see that the ladies arrive at the restaurant. Kenya suggests that they do a shot. They talk, have a little conversation here and there. And Sheree, once again, as they did at Drew's house, brings up that they're there for healing and to get everything clear and da-da-da-da. And as a result, Courtney brings up how she didn't know that Kenya had an issue with her until Sheree told her. And we see a clip of Sheree and Kenya talking. And basically, Kenya is saying that she doesn't know Courtney enough to be comfortable with her, like touching her or whatever. And I like that Drew reiterated the fact that it wasn't that she was trying to be funny. It wasn't that she was trying to be a mean girl, because Courtney said that she felt like she was she gets mean girl energy from her. And Drew was like I told you the other day, that might be one of her boundaries, and you just have to respect her boundaries. They squash it. Doesn't seem like to be a big deal. Then Drew brings up the fact that what Sheree did at her house with the brunch bothered her. She said that she found out from Courtney that Sheree brought it up again when she was not present, and she thought it was something that they already addressed and they already squashed. That she thought they were, building a friendship, and trying to remember. Sheree shuts it down. She makes fun of her. She's smiling and laughing. And Drew says, this isn't anything funny. This is something that's very serious. It's not right for you to talk about me behind my back, because I'm currently dealing with this. This is a legal situation. So Sheree was like, you lied to me and didn't own it. So, but like, how does it feel? you lied on me. And she's like, I didn't lie on you. She said, you did lie on me. So she's like, when I did that Dish Nation interview, it wasn't a lie. It was the truth. The truth was, at the reunion, we were giving products by you. And after that, those same products were taken away. So she's like, no, she doesn't feel that way. She doesn't believe it. And she's like, we squashed it, which they showed 5 weeks ago that they had talked about it. Drew even complimented her and everything, and they supposedly squashed it, but you're bringing it up again. So Kandi says some of the stuff was taken back. And we know Kandi brought this up on the internet. We also know that it was something that her and Sheree talked about. So you acting like they're making this up. Kenya said the only thing that they got to keep were the hats. At some point, Sheree says that she gave them that the things weren't taken back. She don't have no control about what anyone else has to say, or what anyone else had to say in regards to taking the stuff back. She doesn't believe them. Kandi said, do you think we're making it up? And she says yes. I'm reading my notes. Drew said they already talked about it and she thought they moved forward, and that, okay, Sheree said she's trying to teach her a lesson, which is what I said. Drew said she was carrying around information and wasn't genuine in the apology that she gave her, that she thought that they already squashed it, and that it's interesting to her that she's supposed to be the one facilitating this whole healing thing and them letting things go from the past and all that other stuff, when she's basically not practicing what she's preaching. So she's a hypocrite. And Sheree says, doesn't feel so good, does it? Drew said, how are you doing a trip about healing and moving forward and you can't heal yourself? I said, that's a good point. Drew walks away and she's crying. This was all over the place and I'm sorry, but yeah. A few things that I noticed. Marlo, you have told us that you have not dated for years. 4 years. I think you actually said the number 4 in years. So if you haven't dated for 4 years, then why are we talking about this one date that you had with Roy? And why are you now going to use this as part of the thing to get under Kenya's skin? Sonia, your voice is low when it needs to be loud. Let me tell you what I mean. When Drew was talking about how the merchandise was taken back, you agreed with Drew that the merchandise was taken back, but you said it really low. When Kenya mentioned the whole DM situation, you had a lot to say in regards to that. Your voice is loud. You spend too much time trying to act like you're in the middle when you've clearly picked a side. I don't have much more to say about this episode. We'll see what happens next week. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. And until next time.